I don't think I will, but... Oh, another thing I wanted to show you was... So, like, remember how I was talking about how you can, you hear a noise and then, like, you, like, assume it's something that you've already heard, but it's actually just something else. So, like, there's this thing, it's called, like, sine wave speech, and it's basically, like, this audio that sounds like a robot, but then they play a recording of someone actually talking, and then you can make it out. So, like, listen to it right now. Did you hear anything? Like, it, like, obviously sounded like...
No.
Nothing.
I couldn't make any words out of that.
Yeah, so then you hear another word.
Mm-mm.
And now you're gonna listen to this one.
The man read the newspaper at lunchtime.
Yeah, like, you never would have been able to make words out of that.
Yeah, but you heard it the second time, right?
Yeah.
So, like, it just proves that, like, your brain is constantly, like, basing everything, like, its information on, like, past experiences.
Yeah, and if you had a bad disorder, that's how you were processing what everyone was saying.
Yeah.
You go insane.
I just feel like everything is related to sleep, which causes you to process things, like sleep related to that, and then, like, your experiences, like, shape, like, how you process things, basically. I'm trying to think of what else. Oh, so you remember how the dress thing was, like, a big thing in, like, high school for us? Like, what color is the dress?
Yeah.
So, like, what color did you see?
Oh, I can't remember what the options were.
It was, like, either blue and black or white and gold.
I think I saw white and gold.
I remember I saw, like, blue and black, and then, like, I looked at it on my phone later and I saw white and gold.
You remember that Laurel or Yanny recording? Yeah, it depended on my days. Some days I would hear a Laurel, and it sounded like it was, in like a man, like kind of like a deep voice of a man. And the next day, and then like some days I would hear it say Yanny, but when I heard the Yanny, it almost sounded kind of like an old lady. Like it sounded, but it sounded very clear. It was very different each time. Each time I heard it, it was very different.
So, you know how, like, we see, like, shadows outside? It's based on all, like, how we see, like, light from the, like, how when you see light on the ground, like, that's how you interpret, like, what's, like, far away and what's close and everything. Like, I think it's just, like, explains how, like, you see the dress or whatever. It's just, like, how you're interpreting it at that time, like, what you're going through and, like, your thought process, I guess. So, like, maybe I could even take this deeper, but, like, the color of the dress just represents, like, how you're feeling, like, emotions-wise. You know, like, if you're feeling, like, black and blue, if you see black and blue, maybe, like, you're just feeling, like, sad. Or, I don't know. Because I associate with, like, and then, like, white and gold would be, like, more happier, more, like, a pure color, I guess. So, like, maybe, like, your emotions.
Why do you think it's not like that with other things? Like, for example, this table we're sitting at now, I wonder why it's always brown when we see it. Like, how come that's never like it? Do you wonder why that's never a different color? Like, what do you think it was about the dress specifically?
I think it was, like, the way that, like, I think it was, like, because it was two colors. Like, they, like, okay, so this table is, like, a uniform color, it's just brown. But I feel like the way those colors can, like, mix and, like, your eye can see, like, and I don't know, it depends on, like, the time of day, maybe, too, because, like, I feel like I looked at it, like, during the morning, and then another time I looked at it at night, so maybe it's, like, how, like, the light bounces off the colors.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I feel like it could only be like that with, like, I don't know, 2 colors, basically, because I don't know, they, like, I guess I could get really technical, but, like, the way that, like, black and blue or white and gold, like, all the colors have, like, a wavelength. Like, the way you see colors is, like, how can I explain this? So our brain interprets colors. Like, we see colors, but they're actually not really there. Like, that's just how our brain is interpreting the world. Like, I don't know, to you, that could be a different color. Like, you could have learned red as a different color, like, growing up. But, like, I don't know, maybe, like, you know how, like, people explain when they're, like, hallucinating or, like, under an, like, acid or, like, any stimulant, LSD, like, shrooms. Basically, you know how, like, they see colors? Like, what if it's, what if we're just seeing, like, the wavelengths of, like, things, like...
It could be.
Like, what if the wavelengths are constantly changing? Like, maybe that's why, like, we saw different colors in the dress. Like, maybe, like... Maybe something isn't... I don't know, honestly. I'm just trying to make it... I'm trying to explain it to myself, but I have no idea.
No, I hear you.
I don't know, what do you think?
I don't know, part of me wonders if, like, the knitting of the dress or whatever was actually a combination of, like, multiple different colors, but the way it was designed made it look like all one color, and it's like, depending on the day, you might see, it might look one way or it might look the other. The Laurel or Yanny thing, I think it might be actually, like, they might have designed the wavelengths of the word to actually, like, say both things at the same time, but your brain can only comprehend because of, like, maybe, like, the human's limitations on how much stimuli it can take. Maybe it only has, like, enough space to process either one or the other at a time. It just kind of, like, depends on, like, what set your brain is in, like, what wavelength it's on, if it's gonna hear. Because, like, you really think about the word Yanny, you're gonna hear Yanny. And, like, if you really think about it, see how it says it, and if you think about Laurel, you're gonna hear that.
So you think it's, like, a combination of, like... Wasn't the dress, though, like... Wasn't it actually, like, one color? But, like...
I'm not sure.
So you think that it's, like, kind of, like... The sound one, I think, is way more easier to explain, like... So they're...
Yeah.
Both the names are being, like, out there. Like, being transmitted. But, like, your brain filters out one of them. Because it's, like... It doesn't want to get overwhelmed.
I hear you.
It's interesting. I guess another thing... Moving on to, like... So it's kind of like we're talking about how, like, expectations shape how you, like, see and process things or other stuff. So there's this other thing that, like, it's called synesthesia, and it's, like, how, like... Have you ever heard of people who, like, listen to music or, like... It was even, like, something, like, unique, like... How they, like, see numbers or letters, they associate it with colors.
Okay.
Like, whenever they think about it, like, they like, see colors, basically. Like, when they listen to music, like, it's like waves of colors, like if you were hallucinating on acid or, you know, something like that, I guess. That's how I would explain it. But that's, like, the more common one. But there's this person in my class who sees, like, the music or the colors when he listens to music. And he said it happens more with, like, live music, because I asked him like, how do you, like, drive and listen to music? Because, like, wouldn't that be dangerous if you were, like, seeing colors? But, like, I guess I'm wondering, like, how does that, like, how do they see the colors, like, when they're not actually there? You know what I mean? Or are they always there?
I mean, unless your, like, brain connects certain sounds with certain emotions or colors, it might be something you kind of just, like, it's in its head. Maybe it doesn't actually, like, physically see it.
So do you think that, like... So, I guess basically, do you think that our senses are always right? Like, do you think that the way that, like...
I mean, there might not really be a right or wrong.
like, way to perceive the world?
Because there's no way to, like, fully understand what it actually is. Because we're designed to only be aware of what we need to be aware of to survive. So our senses could just make us also see whatever we need to see to survive.
So do you think that, like,
know.
when people, like, see, like, patterns in, like, the sky, like the clouds or stuff, it's actually called, like, pareidolia. It's when you, like, see, like, images and things that aren't, like, really aren't there. Like, you know how people, like, see, like, faces in the clouds, or, like, or, like, constellations, like, stars make shapes and stuff, or, like, I don't know. Like, do you think it's, like, really, like, a sign of, like, you know, like, God, or, like, a sign that you should make a certain decision? Like, do you think it's, like, just, like, a way our brain, like, interprets things? Because we're constantly trying to, like, see the bigger picture, I guess?
Well, it could be... I mean, whatever you choose to interpret it as or choose to believe it as is what's going to become real in your reality. So, I mean, it's really whatever you believe it as. If you choose to take it as a sign to do something, as soon as something good happens out of that, you're going to automatically give credit to taking that sign. If nothing really happens from taking that sign, you're just not going to think anything of it.
So do you think that, like... So do you think that, I guess, do you believe in God? Like, what are your religious views, I guess?
I don't know. I mean, if there's a God, I don't think it's... There could be, like, a God, but I don't think it's what people interpret it to be. Like, if there's a God, it would be some kind of, like, power or, like, main force that's, like, inflicting on everything that happens upon us. I don't think it's a man above the clouds judging us for jerking off. Like, it's... You know,
like, do you think that, like... I guess, like, what I'm trying to say is, like, do you think that, like, seeing things in the clouds or, like, having coincidences is, like, evidence of, like, a God, like, controlling your life? Or do you think it's just the way that our brain, like, processes it and it's really nothing?
It could be the way our brain processes it. It's probably, I mean, what we hear about God and, like, how people describe God to us could be, like, the human's best way of, like, explaining it in a rational sense. For people to actually be able to, like, take it seriously, understand it somewhat, but not go, like, crazy, or not, like, you know, it could, or, you know, so people could still keep a grasp on the reality they're in.
Like, I remember, there was this girl in my class, and she was talking about how her dad, like, had, like, a job that wasn't very good, like, it didn't pay very much, and, like, he hated it too, and, like, he, like, opened a newspaper, and, like there was a job interview or like there was like a job opening or something, and like he was like, yeah, it's just it was like a sign from like, I don't know, telling him what to do basically. And like he got like a better job that he like loves now, but like do you think that it was like some other type of force like trying to like give him a sign of what he should do, or do you think that he was just looking for a job and like
Well, there's
he
definitely
opened a newspaper and it happened to be like a coincidence? Basically, do you think it was a coincidence, or do you think it was like some other like other force like helping him out?
I guess whatever he chooses to, it's whatever he really chooses to believe it is. If he believes it was another force helping him out, then that's what it is made out to be. But there are definitely more forces around us, like, more forces around us inflicting on what happens, or causing certain things to happen that the naked human eye can't just see.
So you think that there's more like stuff that we don't understand that like controls our lives?
Oh yeah, of course.
Like one of the things that like that experiment I was talking about, the Gonzalo experiment, it was like people were under this influence and they were like trying to test like telepathy, like communicating, like me communicating to you, like like trying to tell you something through my mind. And like it came out to be like, it was like somewhere around 20 to 30% of the time they were able to like, so what they would do is like another person would stand outside the room while this person had the goggles on and like was exposed to the white noise and like the light and stuff, and like the other person would like sit out there and try to like send this person like a word.
Okay.
And then like after the whole experiment, the person would have to pick out of like a bunch of cards that said a bunch of different words and like pick which one they thought like the other person was saying to them like telepathically. But like it was only like 25%. I'm not 100% sure that's the right percentage, but like they're trying to prove that like you can speak through minds, but like I don't really think that 25% or like 30% is like really that significant, because guessing by chance is like 25%.
Were they in front of each other? Like, could they see each other? Or were they in
No.
different places?
I'm pretty sure that they were in different rooms.
I mean,
like,
you might be able to communicate with somebody without saying words if you're right in front of them. Like, you can pick
Like
up on their
body
emotions, their body language, what they want, what they're trying to imply, what they're, if they're happy, they're sad, they like you, they don't. It's like you can pick up on that without using words, but if you can't physically see each other at all.
So you think that telepathy is probably like not real?
Yeah, I don't know if you can. Yeah, I don't know about that.
I guess like we can just conclude that like the way people process like emotions and sounds and sight and everything is just like basically the way they learned to do it like over the years, like from their parents, from their surroundings, from their experiences. And that the like stuff like I think that like people who have disorders, basically it's like all based on like, well, not all based on, but like it is somewhat genetics because of like how your brain areas are like working together. But I think it's like based on like sleep and diet and exercise. Like I feel like if you do all that, like you'll be healthier as a person, and maybe like the healthy way of processing things is to not have your brain working at 100%, basically.
Oh yeah.
It's kind of
just like if your body was working at 100% all the time, it would get fatigued, overtrained, and it'd be too much stress on your heart.
So basically, everything is good in moderation.
Yeah.
Like too much is not good and too little is not good.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thanks for talking to me today, Dirk.
Yeah, no problem.
Good conversation.
It's been a pleasure.
I feel like we shed some light on some interesting topics.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, thanks for listening.